So, good evening. This evening I'd like to discuss a very totally different topic, which I normally don't touch because it's not my field of knowledge. But I like to talk. I found a little trick which I apply, and with God's help, I found this kind of trick, this kind of thing. It has all got to do with psychology. And I like to call it, my name is Edgar, and I like to call it the eddy-trick or eddy effect. And I don't know if this is described in psychology, if it's a real effect, yes or no, I really don't know. So I'm posing it, I'm just pushing this into the world, and we'll see what, maybe you can help me testing it, whether it's true, yes or no. And because I like to know whether this works as well for you as it works for me. I don't know if the effect is real, at least in my perception it is, for my feeling it is, for my perception it is real, but I don't know if it's really measurably real. And I like to call this the eddy effect, named after me, so if it's not a real thing or something stupid or whatever kind of thing, then I'm the one to blame and not somebody else. So that's why I link my name to it. Not to get credit. I mean, God gave me this idea, and so it's his. In the first place, it's his idea that he gave to me, and but I don't want to blame him. So if somebody's to blame, then put the blame on me. If there's anything to blame me at all. Okay, what is it? What is it actually? Okay, what's this? These are cooking pans, and what has this got to do with cooking pans? You might think. Well, I can imagine that, especially small children, but also grown-up small children like me, sorry, don't like doing the dishes. I mean, I don't like it. And who does? There are only maybe a few people who really does like doing the dishes. At least if it's not in company. If you have to do it alone, just as I had to do this evening, I had to do the dishes alone. It's not that nice to do. It's a task many people don't like. Okay, I'm no exception to that. But the thing is, why is it boring? Because it seems to take forever and ages and ages. So. What I came up with, or God gave me the idea, is to start with the big utensils, the big pans, the big pots, the big things. Why? Because if you have a pile of dishes and stuff like that, and utensils and all kinds of cookery stuff, it's a huge pile which is standing there on the kitchen table, and you say, "Oh man, I really don't want to do it." So it looks a big pile. But if you start with the big things, then that pile is reduced in your mind quicker than if you start with the small things. If you do the little teaspoons, the tiny teaspoons, and you take them and you start with that, then that pile is remaining a pile. While if you turn it around and you do the big things first, then in your mind that pile is reduced quicker than the other way around. And so for your perception, I don't know if it's a measurable effect, that it also it takes lesser to work to wash the dishes. But if you work from the big stuff down to via the plates and so on, and via the pans, and then you go to the egg containers or whatever it is maybe, and then to the big spoons, and then go smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and you end with the forks and the little spoons. If you take that order, in your mind you perceive it as though the big pile is not such a big pile after all. I don't know, again, I don't know, and the same applies for if you have to dry it, as I had to do it this evening. If you dry them in the same order, so from big to small, so then the pile is shrinking way much faster. than you would normally expect. And it's just tricking your own mind. It's fooling your own mind, so to say. But I don't know if this is a measurable effect. That if you would do the same pile twice and you measure it, but in the opposite way, so from small to big, and then measure the time of doing that, or from big to small and measuring the same time, measuring the time again, and if that's really quicker, I don't know. I really don't know. But in your mind, at least, in your mind, you perceive it as quicker. Why? Because the pile is shrinking much faster if you do big things first and then the smaller things. But again, it's only, at least in my perception, I experience it much more pleasant to do the dishes if I started with the big things and go to the smaller things. And maybe you can help me and investigate this effect. Like I said, if it's not a real thing or so, then blame it on me. Then I don't care. But for that, I call it the eddy-trick or the eddy effect. So this is what I want to share. Please help me with finding out if this is really a thing to consider. I mean, you can help little kids doing the dishes more easily. Because then they perceive it as a lesser big task than if you do it another way. But again, I don't know if this is real effect and if it's measurable. Shrinkens the time that you have to do the dishes. Maybe you can help me with it. Yeah, I'd like to hear from you. You can mail me at mailme at eggsite and mail me, that's standard, monkey tail or at, and then egg, E-K, and then a minus stripe, and then sites, SIGHT.nl. So if you want to give down results, or singingpreacher.nl, singingpreacher@live.nl, you can also mail me and I'll receive it. So I hope you can help me with it. This is a nice do-it-yourself experiment. And well, maybe it's a true thing, and maybe it's not. And at least if it's not real, then you have some fun trying it. At least I have. And you maybe learn something that in your perception you can at least in my perception I think it takes lesser time. Okay, spread the word. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.